A number of companies have recently gone AI first, but what does that mean in practice? Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. Over the last couple of months, we have had a number of companies declaring themselves to be AI first. We've had Duolingo, Shopify. Fiverr CEO wrote a note about how AI was coming for every job. Maybe the earliest to this trend, however, over the last couple of years was Klarna, a buy now, pay later company that's been one of the early guinea pigs for pushing AI adoption. Given that they've been in the midst of this AI overhaul the longest, they give us in some ways the best chance to see what's working and what's not. You might remember that last year they announced that they had used AI to develop their own internal systems that allowed them to cut out Salesforce and Workday. CEO Sebastian Siemiatkowski later acknowledged that the cost savings from ripping out 1,200 SaaS services hadn't been great. The value, he said, had been in developing their own tech stack that fueled productivity and wouldn't have been possible without AI. We also heard that the company had stopped all hiring in 2023, with plans to enlist AI to replace the human workforce, largely focused on customer service roles. And this has been a key hallmark of some of these AI-first announcements that we've seen recently, basically a soft freeze on new hiring until you could prove that AI couldn't do the job. However, earlier this month, Klarna did tweak their strategy. While most news had reported it as reversing course, it wasn't exactly that. Instead, what Klarna figured out is that there was always going to be a demand among some number of their customers to have access to a human customer service agent. And so while they were still very keen on using AI to increase efficiency in customer service, they also wanted to respond to customer demand and have this available as an option. Now, in my mind, this has always been the way that this was going to shake out. And in fact, I think the opportunity is to take human-level customer service and actually make it a prestige position in the same way that it is in luxury industries, for example. The latest that we've gotten from Klarna is not announcements, but actual financials. The company is now on track to reach $1 million in revenue per employee. That's almost double their pace from a year ago. Klarna says that most functions have become more efficient because of their AI efforts. Looking strictly at the numbers, the largest impact has been from a significant cost reduction in customer service. Overall, the company says that they've seen a 40% reduction in workforce since they began their AI overhaul in 2022. The trade-off has been a big jump in one-time costs related to downsizing. The company made a $92 million loss last quarter due to severance-related restructuring costs. Klarna is currently looking to go public, although those plans are now on hold. So there are a lot of expenses related to paying out stock awards. More troubling for Klarna, not from the standpoint of AI, but just from the standpoint of the industry they're operating in, the company also reported a 17% rise in losses from defaulted consumer loans in the first quarter compared to the previous year. These bad debts are now running at $136 million per quarter. A spokesperson noted that the default rate has risen from 0.51% to 0.54%, so, quote, a very slight increase but still very low. These challenges are not due to AI, but due to broader economic conditions, but they are a good reminder that efficiency isn't everything, and companies won't be able to use AI as a magic bullet that somehow shields them from broader market forces. Still, they continue to put AI front and center. The earnings call this week was conducted by an AI avatar of their CEO. TechCrunch writes, other than AI Siemiatkowski's admission, it wasn't obvious that this was AI. There were only a few subtle signs. The AI CEO didn't blink as much as most humans do, the voice sync was good but not perfect, and the AI was also wearing a brown jacket that looked a lot like one from a widely circulated corporate photo of his human self. So, troubling economic conditions or not, Klarna is still very much on the AI train. Shopify, meanwhile, have launched a slew of new AI tools to help users design their shopping experience. There's an end-to-end store builder, allowing users to generate an entire storefront from a single prompt. There's an AI generator for creating elements like banners without knowing how to code. There's also a big upgrade to Sidekick, the platform's commerce assistant, with added voice and screen sharing capabilities. There's also the ability to draw real-time product data from the millions of Shopify stores. As another bonus, Shopify have set up their own MCP server to make integration with external agents seamless, which will for some be a footnote in the news, but I think actually could be the most significant part of this whole announcement. Given how much we've talked about the productization of AI over the past week, all of this news from Shopify is a really good example. The platform was always designed as a no-code tool to empower everyday people to dive into e-commerce, but until now that was through the customization of templates. We're now starting to see vibe coding concepts integrated into no-code platforms, making them much more open-ended. The suite is also a good example of taking a broad concept like AI coding assistants and narrowing them down into a user-friendly package. I am 100% sure that this will not be the last example of this year, but it is a really good demonstration of how AI is on the cusp of changing everything in the consumer software industry. Speaking of coding agents, Mistral have launched their first open source coding agent model. Called Devstral, the product is a small 24 billion parameter model optimized to drive a software engineering agent. Baptiste Rosiere, a research scientist at Mistral, said, "We wanted to release something open for the developer and enthusiast community, something they can run locally, privately, and modify as they want. This model is small enough to run on consumer-grade hardware and is licensed under Apache 2.0, so devs can pretty much use it however they want. It benchmarks well compared to other small models, with Sophie Yang, the company's head of developer relations, writing, compare Devstral to closed and open models evaluated under any scaffold. We find that Devstral achieves substantially better performance than a number of closed-source alternatives. And the idea isn't just to provide a high-performance model, but to pair it with a common open-source agentic framework like OpenHand, SweAgent, and OpenDevin." Rogier said, "We're releasing it with OpenDevin, which is a scaffolding for code agents. We built the model and they build the scaffolding, a set of prompts and tools that the model can use, like a backend for the developer model." The company continues to experiment in filling in market gaps. Rogier said, "There will always be a gap between smaller and larger models, but we've gone a long way in bridging that." Lastly today, benchmarking platform LM Arena has raised $100 million in a seed round that values the company at $600 million. What started off as an academic project is now a commercial startup with backing from Andreessen Horowitz and the University of California Investment Fund. Lightspeed, Felicis, and Kleiner Perkins are also participating. Until now, the platform had been funded by a combination of grants and donations from sources like Google, Together AI, and A16Z. The platform has also faced a lot of scrutiny over this past year. They were central to allegations that Meta had gamed their benchmarks when releasing Llama 4 Maverick, which revealed that the platform allows AI labs to submit multiple different versions of their models that are specifically fine-tuned to perform well in the head-to-head testing. It seems as though this fundraising marks a good time for a fresh start, however, with LM Arena writing, "We're focused on building a neutral, open, community-driven platform that helps the world understand and improve the performance of AI models on real queries from real users." Also, big news is coming next week. We're relaunching LM Arena with a whole new look built directly with community feedback from the ground up. I kind of think we're at the point where there's enough criticism of benchmarks that we're actually likely to see some more innovation in that space, so that is something I will be keeping a close eye on. For now, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines edition. Next up, the main episode.